Alright, I get it, alright? You're coming back to Wizard101. It's been a few years. What school are you gonna pick? I get it, alright? Here, listen to Papa Sauce now, and I'll tell you what school you should pick, alright? No, but seriously though, I've been getting this question a lot, and I can only assume it's because people are coming back into the game, and they're really wondering what wizard they should pick. You guys can see, I have no life. No, but like, I actually have like a lot of wizards, and unlike a previous video I made talking about what school, you know, what is the best school in Wizard101, this one is going to be focusing more on PvP, because I think that's what a lot of people want. Let me know what you guys think of videos like this. A lot of people have been asking me, and I also think there's a lot of misinformation out there. So without further ado, let's get right into it, my mans. So when we're talking about max level PvP, I would consider myself someone who's literally used every school at max, so I kind of know a little bit, you know, just a little bit, you know, about what I'm talking about, just a tad, but you know, obviously, depending on who you talk to, there's going to be a lot of differences. When it comes to PvP, I think there are 3 tiers of PvP. There's a bottom tier, a mid tier, and a top tier. And currently, with the current meta, it's very, very hard to even put certain schools in the bottom tier, because every school is actually pretty competitive right now. So Storm is just one of those things that unfortunately, they just don't have the tools to succeed. And a lot of it actually comes down to the fact that they don't have a lot of health. So when we're talking about what schools are best for 1v1 PvP at max, Storm will always be at the bottom of the list because damage keeps on increasing and their health just isn't catching up. Now, if you asked me this maybe when level 100 was the max level and we had the same spells right now, as in the gear didn't make it so the health differences were so much, I would actually say probably Storm isn't that bad. They actually can do a lot of damage output. The Scion spell they have is arguably the best out of all of them. Literally, all you have to do is wait for someone not to have blades, and you have an enfeeble spell, so you can literally, you know, guarantee that. There are strategies here that you can use that no other spell, you know, gives you, you know, in any other school. My only issue is they just don't have the utility. They don't have a solid heal. They don't have a solid overtime. They don't even have many spells that do other effects along with their main damage. Most of their hits just do damage. So unfortunately, for that reason, if I'm answering the specific question, what school's best at max level PvP, Storm is gonna have to be at the bottom, and it's honestly right now the only one, in my opinion, that's at the bottom of the tier. Now when we're talking middle tier, right, we got 2 schools that always come up, in my opinion. You always got a Death Wizard and you always got a Myth Wizard. Now, why do I put these guys in middle tier? Now, this is just a very, very easy way that I always know if a school is good or not. Can you survive in PvP without a ward pet? Now, if you guys look at this wizard, right? Right now, I think I'm nearing Commander. Obviously, I've been struggling, you know, just to rank up because it's a Death Wizard. But there are strategies because I'm actually doing pretty well. I do think I'm going to make a Warlord on this guy. I'm even closer to Warlord on my Myth. So both of those wizards are actually doing really, really well. Unfortunately, the only way I've been able to do this well is with this beast of a pet. And the problem is, first off, not everyone can make a pet like this. This is an incredible, incredible pet. It also tells you right now where the meta is, you know, like that I have to have all these wards. My issue with this specific factor, you know, the fact that you need a ward pet is that just people can't get ward pets that easily. So if you don't have a ward pet, you're just not going to be competitive enough in PvP to win regularly. Unlike the other 4 schools that I've yet to discuss, Death and Myth do actually have a very, very skill-based gameplay style. You actually do have to use blades, you know, unlike every other school. You literally, you have to time your shots. If you're going second, literally prediction is everything. You're punished a lot for making the wrong moves. Both of these schools have really good Scion spells that work when you build towards a very, very good strategy. There's much more strategic gameplay involved in Death and Myth right now than any other wizard. My only issue is just to be viable, you need a ward pet. I would not recommend max level Myth or Death PvP without at least 2 of the 3 wards on one of your pets. You should try for 3, but at least 2 out of the 3 and a double resist. That's like a must right now. Now, before I get into the top tier, I do want to say why Myth, Death, and Storm have always been at the bottom of the list. The problem with these schools is that, one, they don't have a spammable spell. Literally, you have to blade up. You have to rely on big hits. And the problem is, when there are a lot of schools that can punish you for that, a free, abominable, mana burn. Those are 3 spells that will always punish people that go for big hits instead of spamming hits. The problem is, the meta just isn't there. So I think an easy fix to all of these schools is to give them very, very, you know, condition-based spammable spells that are 4 pips. You know, or, you know, just give them something that adds, like, a weakness, that adds a shield. I don't know. I think that there's a lot of room for improvement, and that's what I hope comes to the game when it comes to Depth, Myth, and Storm. So, in my opinion, right now, with the correct stats, Balance is worse than Life, and I'll tell you guys why right now. The only thing going for Balance right now in the 1v1 meta is the ability to lore spam. And yes, it's a very, very good ability, you know? It's very, very useful. You guys have seen how easy it is, I'm sure, on the streams. It's very, very easy to literally, you won't see me not have max lores, you know? It's lore! That's it. You win, you know? The only issue that I have with this, you know, with just saying lore spam, therefore they're good, is all it takes is balance ward, and lore spam falls apart very, very quickly. I do think as balance ward becomes more and more relevant, you know, more and more people get balance ward on their pets, balance and lore spam, it's gonna decline. It's just an eventual thing that's gonna happen. It only works for so long. It works against people who don't know what they're doing, but it doesn't really work as you get to max level and you PvP a lot and your rank goes up. Everyone has balance ward and you really have to rely on either Shrike or off balance hits. And that's not easy. You know, every other school, if you see someone setting, they can blade up. You know, they can blade up for a big hit. Balance really doesn't have good blades. They really don't have that option. And that is why. That is why I'm putting them as number 4. That's my reasoning. I get it. There's probably people who think Balance is the best school. They have everything. They have blades, I guess, you know, for the other hits. They have off-school hits if they want to go against someone who's setting. They have, you know, lore, obviously. They have arguably the best 5-pip shadow spell, maybe behind Abominable. They have mana burn, they have supernova, they have tons of utility. Yes, they have all of that. The only issue is the second you set for them, completely falls apart, and you can take my word on that. Life, the number 3 school in max level Wizard101 PvP right now. Life is incredibly good at the game right now, and nobody realizes this. Nobody has even talked about it. This is one of the most overlooked schools in the history of the game, in my opinion. And there's literally, right now, I can pinpoint it. There's only one thing holding them back from being literally the best 1v1 class, and that's the fact that their Scion spell is absolutely horrendous. It only heals. It doesn't do any sort of damage whatsoever. That's the only reason. Why is Life so good? I have one word for you: critical. Literally, ever since the critical update that they did recently, where literally your hits can crit and they'll have a 33% boost, but your heals will crit and they have more than a 2 times boost. When you crit a Guardian Spirit, it's not a ×2 percentage, right? It's a little bit more than ×2. That's how crit heals work. And then you get your heal boost, you're gonna hit 50% with very, very little healing. And that makes Guardian Spirit very, very broken, in my opinion. Once you crit a Guardian Spirit, you essentially have a second life. It's not just like you have a second chance. You have literally a second life. Heals are insane right now. You get a TC Satyr for 990, right? That does 990 health, right? You crit it, right? That does more than 2 times. You're talking maybe like 2.3k base right now. And then you add your healing onto it. Are you joking? Imagine having just like a 50% heal. That's more than 3,000 on a Satyr. That's for 4 pips. If you get a lot of critical, and it's hard to do this with balanced stats like I have right here, but if you do that, you will easily be Warlord. And that is something that I can vouch on. It is one of the easiest strategies right now in Wizard101. It makes life way better than balance, because balance can heal. Yeah, they're the only other school that really has a good heal, but it's an overtime. You have to heal in advance. Their healing game is better. Luminous, in my opinion, is a better spell than Lore Master. The only thing holding back Life from being better than Fire or Ice is the fact that their Scion spell isn't that good, and they just don't have a good Shadow hit. This is not that good. The Absorb is very, very overrated, in my opinion. -800 is nothing in this meta. Like, 800 health is not going to save you. It's not going to make or break the game normally. I would prefer a shield over a hungry caterpillar shield every day. there's a lot of damage problems with life, and maybe that's intentional. I don't think a life wizard that can hit very easily is honestly balanced, but that's just the reason why they're number 3 and not number 1 or 2. It's because their Scion spell wasn't that good, and because besides Luminous, they really don't have a good hit. Why do I think Fire is so good that I put it as number 2 on this list? I actually don't think Fire should be this high on the list, in my opinion. I think they should be they should be on the same level as Myth, in my opinion. The reason why Fire is so good in this meta right now is because the gear that they're given is literally on another level. All of their damage is on another level. Look at these boots. Tell me 35 damage doesn't seem a little strange to you. That's 35 damage on this. That's 36 damage on these boots. You know, the hats give more damage. Everything now gives more damage for Fire than every other school. So the way KingsIsle's been doing things with gear recently, Storm gets a lot more crit, but Fire gets a lot more damage. And right now, damage is a lot better to have as a stat than critical is. You know, critical only does 33% damage, but who cares if you can consistently every hit guaranteed do more damage just with your damage stat. This is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen a game ever do. They shifted the meta towards Fire over the last few years, very obviously. You know, like it started right after the Malster gear. The Malster gear was the last time the gear didn't give more damage, you know, to Storm instead of Fire. And it's really strange, you know. This wand gives a lot more damage. All the boots now give a lot more damage. I would bet any hat that you get now that's above level 100 will give more damage to your Fire Wizard. So Fire has a lot of damage, and what's more important, their spells are absolutely insane. Every spell that they get seems to help them out more and more. And this is just something that I think is unbalanced. Ifrit is an easily one of their best spells, right? You have a cop out of every scenario with an Ifrit. If you strike early, there's no counter to an Ifrit. You literally have an offensive and defensive move. You cannot be punished for it. You have this spell that gives damage and a trap. You have this spell that gives damage and a trap. You have this spell that gives damage and a trap, and your Scion is based on traps. That is literally one of the most like versatile things you could ever ask for. You had a fuel. Let me tell you right now. It doesn't matter how much resist your opponent has. You have if you're first, right, and they don't just spam set shields, all right. You know, like either way, you know, you can be second and they don't spam set shields. All you have to do is use fuel, Fire Beetle, and Scion very like efficiently, and you're good no matter what. Now, in my opinion, I don't think Ice deserves to be the #1 school, but it is, and I'll tell you why. There's a reason why, and it's not because of Abominable. Everyone loves to say Abominable is a reason why Ice is so good. No, Ice is really good because the meta has shifted towards ward pets and high resist. Right now, I don't have a ward pet on this pet, but if I were to, right, let's say I got rid of, I don't know, a couple of the damages in the infal and just added 3 wards, and I had a bunch of flat resist, right? With all this health that I have and all that resist and all that flat resist, it literally wouldn't matter how many times I got hit. I could tank so many big hits. The reason Ice is so good is because of their health. That's what makes Ice so good, considering how much resist and how much health I have. It's very hard to die as an Ice. I say it's time for the other schools to catch up, and maybe the best way to do that is by making sure that they have more health to compete with. I think Ice used to have a lot of good strategies, and now all you really do is Shrike and either Lord of Winter, or Shrike and pray for a Shadow Pip and Abominable. It's a very easily repeatable strategy. It's also very easy on this wizard for me to be Warlord. I didn't have to try to even get a ward pet. It's very strange how there's some wizards where I actually have ward pets where I've struggled very hard to get to Warlord, and there's schools like Ice and Life where I don't need a ward pet. It's very easy just because of the way the game is set up. And hopefully things will shift so that either the other schools can catch up or the top 4 schools can come down a little bit. They're all good and they're all bad for different reasons, and I hope that KingsIsle focuses on balancing them more. One of the main ways they can balance them is by adding more utility spells to schools that are bottom tier, and by making sure that the health differences are less and less in future updates. That would balance PvP out a lot more, in my humble opinion. But yeah, guys, this is a video a lot of you guys have been asking for. I guess a tier breakdown of the meta, maybe, I guess, is a good way to put this video. But yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with anything I said. I would love to hear your opinions in the chat. If somebody has not told you you're awesome today, my mans, they doing something wrong. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and stay awesome, bruh.